The other thing we've done is, well, I try to make sure that I get pictures of me going out to all these events because I am out there a lot, but nobody knows if they're not there because and they're just looking at my social media. So I try to make sure that people see I'm out in the community.
Sharp strategies, sweet success.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Sharp Strategies, Sweet Success, and I'm your host, Tiffany Swidensky. And today we are talking to Zarina Hernandez. She is a criminal defense attorney in Orlando, Florida. I almost called you a personal injury attorney, and I'm sorry for that. And she actually came to the Sharp Marketing Seminar back in June. It was actually really great to have her there in the room. She was the only attorney. And so it was kind of fun to get her perspective on some of the people that we were talking about. Because in that seminar, we were talking about handling attorneys and dealing with our bosses and all that fun stuff. But Serena is working on building the marketing of her firm. I've talked to her a few times over the last couple months, and her team are really working hard to spin up a bunch of cool stuff. So I'll turn it over to her to finish out her introduction and to get us started today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Zarina Hernandez, like Tiffany said, and I practice criminal defense in the Central Florida area, so near Orlando, Florida. That encompasses Seminole County, Orange County, Osceola County, and Orange County, Florida. Sometimes I go to Lake County. And I've actually had a few cases in DeLand, which is Volusia County, but DeLand's a little closer than like Daytona Beach, which is in Volusia County. So that's my area.
Well, I've only been to Florida a handful of times, and my impression is hot and humid. But it's really competitive down there. There are a ton of attorneys in Florida, and I know, offhand, three or four down there in Orlando. So you're in a really competitive space.
It is very competitive here. There are a lot of personal injury attorneys, a lot of criminal defense attorneys, and I'm involved in the legal community. I belong to a lot of voluntary bars, and we kind of all know each other, and it's all good. Like we all get along.
Yeah, that's nice when a competition doesn't really feel like competition because we are competing against each other, but at the same time, it's a small universe. In legal in general or legal marketing, you end up talking to the same people, and it just behooves you to play nice with others. So,
It's true.
um, oh well, go ahead. Sorry, didn't mean to
No, I was
interrupt.
just agreeing with you. It's true. It really is. We should all get along. We might be working on opposite sides of a case, but we still have work to do technically together. So it's better for the client.
So, what are you guys working on right now in your firm? Because you're well, and I hope this isn't insulting, but you're starting small and you're growing right now. So, what are you guys doing to kind of gear up for that growth?
So, I guess I should give a little bit of background about how I started the firm. I started my firm in 2021, and I did absolutely no marketing at all. And I guess I thought maybe if I just hid in my office and my friends would just send me cases, I don't know what I was thinking. And I started picking up appointed cases from the courts. It was appointed criminal cases, and I did that for a long time, but I was doing absolutely nothing to get private cases. So, about a year and a half ago, I decided to really push for getting more private cases and trying to learn what do I need to do to have awareness of my firm so I could get those cases coming in. And of course, everybody said social media. And I didn't have a lot of resources, and that's one of the least expensive options you have. So I set up my social media accounts for the law firm, and I tried posting on my own with like terrible lighting, nothing really to say, and I'm not very good at social media in my personal life. So eventually I did end up hiring somebody, and they've been helping me out. So we're very active on Meta, so Facebook and Instagram. And I wanted us to start there so we can get kind of like a steady rhythm going of posting. And then we can move on to other platforms. So we're about to start the TikTok. I really need to work on my LinkedIn for sure and my YouTube channel. So that's what we're working on right now. Oh, and the newsletter, that too.
Yeah, social media is so tricky, and I'll even admit to being right after I graduated college, kind of, and I graduated with a marketing degree, but even back then, I kind of felt like social media marketing wasn't a real job. Like, I don't think businesses, particularly small businesses, really started taking it seriously until recently because social media marketing, I guess, was the domain of like big businesses, Coca-Cola, Wendy's. Wendy's has a great TikTok account. I don't know if it's still going, but you couldn't really see small businesses looked at it and either thought like that wasn't real work and it wouldn't do anything for them, or they looked at it and just thought, well, maybe just a total waste of time. But now people are starting to take it seriously, and it's hard for. And I'm actually like you, like I used Facebook for a little while, like after college, and then gave up on it because like ultimately, like social media is kind of a toxic place if you read the comments. But if you learn how to make the content that gets people to engage with it, it's really useful, and it's a really useful tool. So what have you started making for social media so far?
So I've made some, I guess, I can't think of what they're called right now, but when you just like explain stuff to people. So I did a series for DUIs, and that was posted a couple of times a week until those ran out. And the cool thing about what I've been thinking of posting is because I serve the Spanish speaking community, and my Spanish speaking friends are like, where are your Spanish language videos? And I'm like, you're right. So it's kind of interesting. Now I have to like double up or figure out, is there AI out there that will translate my videos for me? I'm not sure. But for right now, I don't even think I would want to do that. AI is useful, but sometimes I don't want AI to speak for me. So I definitely feel like I have to re-record videos in Spanish to post those. The other thing we've done is, well, I try to make sure that I get pictures of me going out to all these events because I am out there a lot, but nobody knows if they're not there because and they're just looking at my social media. So I try to make sure that people see I'm out in the community. I try to take videos as I'm walking into the courthouse, or if I'm at a networking event or whatever. I'm just trying to catch some pictures, whatever. And the other thing we've been doing as far as what do you call it, Tiffany? Like the teaching like the whoever's looking at my social media, teaching them about what I do, like those DUI videos. What would you call it?
FAQs typically.
Okay, so we make like still just little like posters, whatever, flyers, whatever, I don't know what they're called, but posts with just little bits of tips and stuff, and we post those too. Um, and that's what we've been working on. I'm thinking also of doing a series like so the person who's doing my social media, she's been tracking what kind of posts do well, and apparently everybody loves it when I'm on camera, which I'm like, yay. And so thinking of doing like a end of the week series or something like little snippets of my week. Maybe it might be like I'm working late or okay, it's Friday. Let me try to neaten up my desk a little bit so when I come in the next day, it's not such a mess. And or maybe, oh, this is what I'm wearing to court, and I'll throw something like that. So just to make it a little fun, not so serious all the time. I'm not really a meme person, like trending audios and music and stuff like that. So I don't know. That's what we're working on.
Yeah, that's something that I need to look at again as well because it's so hard to keep up with the trends of social media without being like totally in it. And like when you're a small business owner, like I ain't got the time, I don't think you have the time either to just like spend like half an hour or an hour on TikTok each day just to see what's popping. And it is so hard when you're not kind of inclined. I'm not the type to go out and take a bunch of pictures. And I actually have to like literally if I go out with the family, I have to remember to take pictures because I want to be like snooty and be like I'm living in the moment. But I mean, it's just that's never been like my deal. Like I'm just not that picture taker. And so, but when you're own a small business, you own a law firm, and you have people want that content. People want you. They like faces. They like to see people. And so you kind of have to become your own like production crew. And like, I have a new camera and I'm taking it with me to an event and I'm planning on recording content of myself at the event. And it sounds so silly to me. Like it feels like a silly thing to do. But then you have stuff to post on LinkedIn, you have stuff to post on Facebook or Instagram that people really seem to like. And I don't know, for me, sometimes it's weird to be that self-centered where it's like literally I'm bringing a camera to take pictures of myself. But that's what you have to do. And it's kind of the paradox of owning a small business and trying to do the thing that you love to do, but also being like a media person. So it's interesting.
Wow, you call it a media person. I've never even considered it. Yes, another level of like, what am I being having to worry about now? So I agree with you. It's been really difficult to create content when I'm at things, at events, because I forget. Like I went to something last night and I was prepared. I had my camera, I had my little, like I had a little card I had to bring with me. And I asked the person who was checking me in, like, where should I take this? How should I use this? Because it's the county chamber. It was a county chamber event. So they have this, like a thing that they do where you just bring a card and say, I'm here visiting another business that's a member of the chamber. And so I brought my little card and I was ready. And then I started mingling and completely forgot about it. I was in my car on my way home and I was like, oh man. I didn't do anything I was supposed to do. Like what the aim that I set out for, right? Yes. Well, one of the aims, because I went out to meet new people, right? And tell them what I do, but I also wanted to commemorate that or like capture that, and I just didn't capture it. I'm just not used to doing it. So it really you just have to be so like aware and remember, and that also kind of makes it awkward in a way because now you're just thinking about it. What can I capture? What can I capture? So that's how I
Yeah.
felt about it. For a little bit there, I had an office manager. I love her so much. She's not with me anymore, but she used to come to events for me, and that was it. That's all she did. She would help me by, hey, can we get a picture? Or hey, take a picture here. And then she would get that to the social media person. So that was working out really well because I would never remember.
See, that's why I like to recommend having an in-house marketer because, and it's not just business owners, it's everyone who's maybe not accustomed to posting on social media. If you just don't think that way, you just don't think that way. But like somebody who's a little more involved in social media is definitely able to be there, follow you around, take some pictures. I'll never forget when one of my clients, I was in a meeting with them, like our normal marketing meeting, and they're like, "Yeah, I gave a big speech at this local theater about owning a business last week." And I was like, "Did you get video?" And they're like, "Oh, shoot, no." And I was like, well, I was so like devastated because I was like, dude, I could have used that for so many things. Like, just bring a camera with you next time. I was so frustrated. And, but that kind of footage and that kind of content is just gold. It's gold for social media. And that's what's hard about marketing in general is that you have to make content. It's not just waiting for something to happen in marketing that you can report on. You have to create these events and create these photo opportunities. And I just think people outside looking in, I think most people, when they see like an ad, just completely underestimate how much thought went into creating an ad or creating that marketing or creating that image. And it's a production. It's always like a big, big production.
I remember when I first started making videos like on my own, I think I filmed for 3 or 4 hours and I got 5 minutes of footage, like usable, usable footage. Yeah, it was terrible. And so I was trying to film the FAQ stuff, right? And I mean, I used it because you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get done. And you can edit stuff. And that's the mindset I try to keep. That's how I think about creating this content. Because if I'm trying to be a perfectionist and look like the other people who've been doing social media for years, like I'm not like them. I'm an attorney. I'm knowledgeable in that. I'm very experienced in that. And I can share that in the way that I am. And that's just how I think about it. Otherwise, I would never do it. I would never do it. I'd be stuck in perfectionism forever. So
Yeah, the best way, particularly with video, because like how I've used video for my business has gradually increased. But it started with me trying to film a TikTok video or trying to do this or trying to do that. And my first attempts sucked and I hated them. And I bought things I didn't need. I didn't buy things that I needed until later, like a camera. And like I have a green screen back there that I've really actually only used once, and just because I didn't even need it. And you have to get used to seeing yourself on camera. You have to lighting, have to figure that out. That took me a while in here. And just all this stuff to go into making a video that you like and that you enjoy making. But once you figure it out, like once you crack the code and you got your lighting set up, you know how you're going to record, you've done a few of these, like it gets so much easier. And video is such, it's YouTube is just huge, and particularly with you for criminal defense. A lot of people casually are interested in criminal defense, and so you'll get a lot of viewers who are just looking for more information, though they themselves haven't been accused of a crime. And that's what's kind of nice about criminals, as you already have like a lot of interested viewers. So you get that little boost. A lot of people are viewing your YouTube videos, and so YouTube sees that and shows it to more people. So I feel like criminal defense attorneys have it easier, though I'm sure a lot of them will disagree with me.
I've seen a lot of criminal defense attorney YouTube videos, and they're always so fun and peppy, right? So they're entertaining. And I don't think I come across as fun and peppy on camera. So it's just so Tiffany, I did not know. I thought I was smiling. Like I remember taking footage of and they were like smile and I'm like, but I am. I'm like, they're like, no, 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 you're not. Like I'm like, I can feel these muscles. They're doing the up thing, like we're smiling. And so it's something that I really have to be mindful of when I'm recording. I have to be like, okay, now smile. Like, but yeah, so YouTube was really, really helpful for me in learning like how to light something. Like you don't have to have a giant set of lights or anything. Right now I'm simply using a clip-on light on my laptop, and I think I'm well lit. I mean, so that's just really, and I don't know, I guess to summarize everything, I don't know if I'll ever look super polished on social media. And I don't think it matters across all platforms either. But I'm okay with that. I'm in a good place.
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna do the best I can with what I got. Okay.
Well, and I'm being theoretical here, but I think reels, like Instagram reels, TikTok short videos, and since so many people started making videos, I think like we've just kind of grown accustomed to like not just seeing attractive people on screens. So like I really like kind of scrolling through TikTok sometimes because not everyone on there is polished, but sometimes like they have a huge following and they're just like an average person, but people connect with that. You're approachable. Not to say you aren't beautiful, but just being average is fine on camera. And like for the most part, like particularly with criminal defense attorneys or attorneys in general, like they're not looking for Margot Robbie, who's my go-to of like who looks absolutely stunning on camera or
He
something
does.
like that.
Agree.
Yeah. About the smiling on camera, and I've probably said this before, maybe my listeners have heard, but that was the toughest part of getting my clients started with video because their delivery would just be like, "Hi, my name is blah 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 blah," because they're used to being serious. And I learned this from theater people that I know, but like your facial expressions when you're so close to when you're on camera have to be exaggerated. And so like you wouldn't sit there and smile at somebody in a meeting because you look like a lunatic. But for video, close and personal on a screen like this, like in somebody's face, it's actually you have to kind of exaggerate your features and like put on a bigger smile than you would naturally. And that was something I had to learn too and help my attorneys learn. I tell them all, like, just be happy for the camera. You have to be really happy for that camera. So you mentioned that you guys were doing a newsletter. Is it an email newsletter still, or are you guys expanding into print yet?
So, first of all, thank you so much for having done that seminar and having this like mastermind group because we get ideas from you. And we're doing both an email newsletter and I'm thinking of doing a print newsletter, kind of like make it cutesy, like a little newspaper with just a couple of things on there. And so we haven't started as far as I haven't started writing anything yet. I think coming up with ideas is hard. Like, what do you guys want to talk about? Like, and so what I've been doing is reading other law firm newsletters and just trying to learn a little bit about what are they actually saying. There's, oh my gosh, you know who it is. They write, they are their PI firm, they're part of the group, and they have a really great newsletter where maybe they'll mention something that's popular on social media and then tie it into like PI stuff. It's like
It wasn't Grace, was it? Donahue
I think it
Kearney.
was like
Oh,
they're
okay, okay.
in
Yeah,
not what, Virginia or DC or something like that.
they're in DC. Yeah,
Yes.
you're thinking Donahue Kearney.
Yes. So I was gonna say Kehoe, but their newsletter is fun. And I'm thinking about, okay, what topics do I need to write about? And you can really plan that ahead, right? So if you send maybe 2 newsletters a month, that's 26 things you just have to write about. And you can plan some of those, like if it's a holiday, how can you tie in this holiday to what you do, right? That's just one way, and just be creative, I guess. And maybe it's just me because I'm not really, I don't want to say I'm not in the creative field, because when I'm writing for work, I'm dealing in facts and law, right? And I'm writing persuasively, not creatively, but I'm still having to be creative, because to be persuasive, you have to kind of get the other person to think about your side of whatever it is you're talking about. So you have to be creative in that way. What's going to capture their attention? How are you going to say this in a way that's going to make them agree with you, you know? And that's being creative, I guess. I kind of went on a tangent. I don't know.
No, that's fine. No, because well, it got me thinking. So for marketing copy and being persuasive in marketing copy, you have to tap into some pretty strong emotions. And I'm not going to speak to the kind of writing you attorneys do because, frankly, I don't know that much about it. But I think, like, for me, that seems to be the big difference is like when you're writing persuasively for like a legal argument, it's more technical. But when we're doing it for marketing, it's more emotional. And that to me is why I feel like a lot of attorneys look at marketing and see it as like manipulative because we're marketing is kind of playing a different game when we're trying to be persuasive. We're trying to be persuasive by almost gut punching people.
Hmm.
And that's not something that you do, I guess, I don't think, when you're writing briefs. Maybe more. I know you guys kind of do that in court when you're delivering arguments, but I better stop talking or I'll start offending attorneys.
No.
I started to get nervous when I started. I was like, I actually don't know what you guys do. I know how to get the cases, kind of, yeah. But I'm trying to remember who said this quote. I feel like somebody famous said this at some point, and I just can't remember who said it. But if you want to get ideas, like if you want to inspire yourself to write and you want to give yourself ideas to write, what you do is you go out and read somebody's stuff who's doing it badly. So I'm pretty sure a famous author said this, that if they were ever stuck, they would pick up like a trashy romance novel and start reading it. And then they would just immediately kind of start getting mad at what they were reading, getting frustrated, and they would go back to their own works like, I can do better. I can do better. And then they do. And I always found that kind of an interesting way of getting unstuck. Because if I was trying to write LinkedIn posts and don't know what to say, I'll go to LinkedIn and start scrolling and I'll see something. It's like, oh, that's a good idea that I can use. Or, oh, that's an opinion I disagree with. And it's just reading other people's stuff for me is an excellent way of getting ideas and inspiring yourself. So I think that's a great strategy.
Yeah, definitely. And there was something that happened recently. I had a consultation with a potential new client, and he hired this giant criminal defense law firm in the state, and they literally didn't show up for him in court. And they didn't communicate with him about what was going on, and he couldn't get a hold of them. And that just made me so angry. I'm like, I'm gonna make this into content. Like, so I sometimes get inspired by actual situations that I encounter, and I want to teach people about like how to avoid getting into these situations, basically. And it's just a matter of just sitting down and doing it, because you just write a first draft, throw it out there. It doesn't have to, again, the newsletter doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to get done. And I just need to throw that stuff out there and into my little newsletter.
And that's, we haven't brought up AI yet, and I usually ultimately do once a podcast, but like that's what's so useful about ChatGPT because before ChatGPT, the big writing tip is just to create a first draft and not be judgmental of it. Just put your ideas to paper and write, and then you can go back and edit. And it was just a way of like unblocking yourself to get yourself past that kind of procrastination, writer's block stage where you're just staring at a blank screen. But, with ChatGPT just like spits out that first draft, no problem. And where people screw up is just using that first draft as is, but it's saving you a step, but there's still more steps after it where you have to put your own spin on it. But just writing, creating content, planning in general, it's important just to put your ideas to paper and get those first ideas out because you can refine them later. You can update your content later. You could do this video, you could write this video, and if you like it, great, or you can make a new one down the road. And so I always go back to like an iterative process of creating content. Like if it didn't work the first time, we'll just try something else. So definitely love the process.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wipe my eye out. I know you have like a little marketing team now. So who's helping you? Like who's making up the team and helping grow your firm right now?
So today it's just me and the digital marketer. My office manager would help out a lot. She was more into the networking because she was remote, but she was local. And so she would come with me to events. She would help me put my little swag bags together to give to clients and help me create like capture content for social media. So that was what she was doing. And the digital marketer, she does my social media, my Google ads, things like that. I kind of want to give her my website, but I don't think she has enough experience and I tried her out for a couple of weeks on it and kind of left her. I just said, listen, let's try this. I don't expect you to know it we're super well, or you might make mistakes, but I don't think you're gonna like break anything with what I'm giving you to do. So let's try it out, see how it works. And I just said, don't be afraid of like telling me, no, I can't do this. And eventually we figured out, no, I really need to hire somebody to do my website. So I'm waiting on that. Like I'm not waiting. I'm procrastinating on that. But yeah, so I'm literally the head marketer, I guess. I'm a solo attorney. I'm running my own law firm. I wear all the hats, and everybody else is like my assistant, basically. And so I'm picking out the swag. I'm going to networking events. I'm doing referral marketing. I'm doing all these things myself. And then what I feel like maybe I'm not good at, I find that person to help me and pay them to do it. And it frees up so much time. And maybe they're only doing 10 hours a week or 15 hours a week, but that's 10 to 15 hours a week where I'm not having to do that. And I don't have that kind of time to dedicate to doing the thing. And so if I even tried to, like a lot of stuff, it would fail. Like I just am one person. So that's my team. It's me and the digital marketer. And maybe in the future, I'll have somebody in the same position where they're remote but local, where we can get together and he or she can continue helping me and doing things around town. So we'll see.
Yeah. Delegating a website is so difficult because without delegating it to like a vendor, because web development isn't particularly hard. It's not like computer programming or being an engineer, but it's still like a technical skill. And it's probably one of the things that if you have somebody in-house who's already a web developer, you're really lucky. And I just haven't seen that happen at very many firms where their in-house marketing team were also web developers. And so for me, like that's something that I feel like most firms are going to have to outsource at some point. And the trick there is unfortunately cheap SEO companies are under $5,000 a month. All they're going to do is maintain your website. They're just not going to do a whole lot. And so you're almost stuck doing DIY until you're ready to invest big in SEO. And that is just it's just so difficult. But I guess the good news is websites are hard, but like most everyone knows how to post something to social media, how to post something to YouTube. There are like you and I talked about Substack, I think like a week ago actually. You can have a blog there. There are a lot of other sites where you can just quickly build a website that you don't have to maintain or even understand in that much detail. But it's so tricky because when you start getting into the web marketing with criminal for sure and like PI, that's where things are really competitive. I mean, the race to the top of Google for either of those practice areas is just absolutely cutthroat. And the people at the top are probably spending like 20,000 a month for their SEO rankings when you talk about their vendor fees, when you talk about maybe what they're paying with ads. and just other things. So I want a lot of firms to like, I wish I could tell firms like, you can find somebody in-house to maintain your website, but it's so rare. It's such a hard thing to do. But so yeah, I think there's some things that you'll always have to outsource. But I mean, it sounds like you guys are doing great with the small team you have. And I mean, you're obviously doing quite a lot in implementing a lot of this marketing, which a lot of solos just really don't get to do themselves, which is really impressive.
Yeah. So I want to say something about like in-house versus hiring outside. I have not, this is not my first go around with like hiring from outside to do certain things. And I'd rather do it, have somebody in-house. Will I ever find that person? Who knows? But it's definitely a goal of mine to just have somebody in here who I'd say this is the vision I have for this week for the blog or whatever, the website, and please put it together, let me review it, and then we can just post. Or even have somebody that works with me so much that they just know, right, what I will like or won't like because they're just with me all the time and I know my tastes or what I'm trying to achieve. So that's really the goal for me. Who knows? Like I said, maybe I'll find it, maybe I won't. We'll see. Yeah.
I was just going to say, I feel like what you described is very attainable. Putting up a web page isn't, and I don't want to mischaracterize what I said, but setting up a simple WordPress page is pretty easily done. But like full-time website maintenance, SEO stuff, that's maybe a little bit out of reach of a solo in-house team. But like what you described to me seems like it's a very attainable goal. The hard part is just training them on your taste. And in my experience with the small team I have, like it takes a little time, but it takes that feedback too, which I think is hard for a lot of business owners because you have to look at a creative and explain to somebody else what you don't like about it and what you would prefer instead. And if you know nothing about design and you don't speak the language of SEO or web development or whatever you're critiquing, it can be hard to kind of convey that message to them. But I mean, the person you described, I feel like that's a very attainable marketer for most firms.
Yeah. It's just the process of finding them, right? That's what's going to take a while.
Yeah.
And it might take years. I don't know. We'll see, Tiffany. Like we'll see what we can do. But that is definitely a goal of mine. The other thing I wanted to bring a lot of stuff in-house. The reason why I want to bring a lot of stuff in-house is because I've had experiences where I lost like so, you might hire somebody and then they'll do the thing, but they're doing it on their platform. And then if you're not working with them anymore, you lose access to that. And that's just a warning I want to give to anybody who's out there wanting to do that. Just watch out for that and make sure it's in your contract with them that they can't move your stuff away. I mean, there was a company I thought about hiring to help me with automating certain things in my firm, but I would have to move. They were using Zapier and they would build that stuff in their account. And if I fired them, I would lose all my automations. Like that's wild. That's wild to me. Like you're literally, I'm not going to hand you the cogs of my firm. Like that's not happening. So of course I didn't work with them. But that's just one thing I think people should really think about and watch out for. It's just a little warning. I've been through it, learn from me. Nobody will ever listen. They're gonna try it and they'll be the exception. It won't happen to them because that's what I was thinking too, because I was warned. And the second thing I wanted to say about what smaller criminal defense law firms can and can't do, I've noticed that in a lot of places, like I'm the only criminal defense attorney doing networking or doing voluntary bar stuff outside of just like the criminal defense voluntary bar stuff. And that is so strange to me because it is such a great place to get referrals from, right? And I don't know if maybe I don't know why they're not there. I can only speculate and maybe they don't have the time. Maybe they don't realize they should be doing it. I don't know. It's just really strange.
I think as a society, we're trending towards more people being introverted than extroverted. And particularly with the pandemic and everyone like going virtual, I guess, going online and going virtual. I feel like there's just a lot of people who aren't accustomed to like going out and myself included, like I'm the queen of my weekend plans are staying at home all weekend and like doing house chores. And that's perfectly fine for me. And I mean, sometimes I'm like, oh, we should go out and do more stuff. But then again, I'm just an absolute homebody. So like that's definitely my personality. But But I'm aware of like how necessary it is to do the stuff that you're suggesting, like getting out there, meeting people, talking to people. Actually, I think it was Ben Glass who said something like, you need to get out and meet people to let them know that you're not crazy, which I'm not crazy, I'm a normal person. And I feel like that's just so true. And I just feel like most people aren't accustomed to it, but that's kind of an opportunity for the people who are willing to do it. It's so easy to stay home behind your computer and post something to social media. It's much harder to like show up at an event and just shake hands with somebody you don't know and say hi and try to get to know them. So I mean, just looking at the amount of effort involved, I think that's just why more people kind of don't do those things. But it's so important, it really is. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't want to say like there's no effort because there is, but it's weird. So the event I went to last night, I got there like 15 minutes before it was supposed to end. Like my day just didn't go as planned. So I got there 15 minutes before it was supposed to end. I stayed there for the 15 minutes. I stayed longer, like 15 more minutes, and then I left. I was there for 30 minutes. It was like 10, 15 minutes from my home. So I really spent like an hour of time away from my home. And something really great happened there that's going to help me in the future. And going there was totally worth it, right? And that's when I'm sitting there like, oh, I just don't really feel like going. I'm so tired. I'm like, you're gonna one thing is gonna happen that's really gonna help you. And that's the only it doesn't have I don't have to meet everybody at the event. I think I talked to 3 people and there were maybe like 50 people there. And we had great conversations. They were nice. And I got one really great thing out of it. There was another event that happened. It's been almost like 3 weeks, and I just had such a rough day. And I, it was a rough day for me personally. The weather was terrible, which means that if the weather is terrible in Florida, the traffic is terrible. So I already knew, but I went and I met this new person there, and quite literally, you know how badly I didn't want to go to this event? I had to talk to my husband and my best friend, like, please talk me into going to this event. And they were like, you have to go. Like, what are you doing? You're just gonna lay on the couch. And so I did. I went. And like 4 days later, that new person I met at the event sent me a referral. Like I made money from going to this thing. And I needed it. So it's the goal is just to get one either a really good connection with one person. Like that's really the ultimate goal for me when I go to these events. And if something great comes from it, like yes, that's even better. Money is the great thing I'm looking for.
Are we all? You reminded me of a goal that I keep setting for myself but never put to paper, which is to attend more events. And because it is just so important. It is so important. Everyone's preoccupied with making things really efficient. So I'll talk to business owners and I understand why they're asking. It's like, how do I make the most out of this? But if it's something like going to an event, there's tempting to be like, okay, we're going to go to this event, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. But a lot of times it's almost intangible. Like you go to an event, you talk to somebody, an opportunity you couldn't have planned for appears, and all of a sudden it's kind of changing the trajectory of what you're doing for the next few months. And it's amazing and fun almost just to have that kind of spontaneity because you just don't know what's out there for you. You just don't know what opportunities are on the horizon. You have to get out there and talk to people and be open to what comes your way, which I just think is so important. So, and actually, we're a little bit over time. I guess we had a good conversation.
I
But so
enjoyed talking
my,
to you, Tiffany.
so was there anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't go over?
First of all, I want to say that, earlier in the conversation, you said something like it doesn't seem like a real job to be a social media manager, but like I've tried doing that myself and it's so hard. And you just have to know so many things about how this platform works or how to engage people. Like it's just so much it's literally a job and you need to know so many technical things. You have to be talented at it. Um, and you have to have years of experience to do it well, is what I think. And that's a job, and I'm not saying that you said that it wasn't a job, but it just might seem like it's not a job, but it is really a big job, especially if you want to try that. So that's one thing.
And you have to
Just
take it seriously too.
do.
Like that's, you
Yeah.
have to take it seriously. And
Yeah,
that's,
you have to be so careful with everything that you do. The other thing is that try to find one of the people that got me into this mindset of it just has to get done, it doesn't have to be perfect, was a YouTube person. I forgot her name right now, but I watch her all the time. And she used to work in corporate America, I guess. And she went on her own and she's calling herself a creative. And, but she has a corporate background and she's talking about building a business. And she's like, you have to be creative about it. Like, and I don't know what she's like a coach. She's like a coach, like a business coach, but she's taking this creative tact about it. Like that's the right direction she's going in. Not like you have to watch your KPIs. Like it's not like that. It's more about the emotional aspect of building a business and how to do great things with it. Whatever. She's great. So she basically said something like you have to be delusional until everybody else catches up. It's like what she's saying about it. Like just do the thing. Like you don't have any followers, who cares? Keep posting. You will get the followers. Just keep acting like you have a ton of followers. Get on the video and say, "Hey guys," and there might never be any guys back there watching what you're doing, but pretend that there are and continue behaving in that way because they will catch up. So that's something that I always try to keep in mind. Just do the thing. I don't know if
Actually,
that makes any sense.
if you remember her name, like let me know because I want to look her up actually. But I mean, there for me, women and men are so different that like I seek out women business coaches because I feel like they just give advice that's better suited to me because we just don't want to get too much in the battle of the sexes, but we think differently, I think. So I mean, I definitely love to check her out.
Yeah, no
Um,
problem.
so where do you want people to look you up and learn more about you?
So, of course, my website, and that's www.zhernandezlaw.com. And I'm very active on Instagram, and that's z.hernandezlaw. That's my at name, if that's what it's called. See, I don't even know the technical terms for the things.
No, I think you got it. I think you got it. Yeah.
And those are the places you can find me. I'm also on YouTube. Well, not exactly on YouTube yet. It's gonna launch, but it's the same at names are basically across all the platforms. Z.Hernandez Law. That's where you can find me.
Well, thank you so much for talking with me today and being a guest. I really appreciate it. And everyone listening, go check out Zarina on her website and social media. And thank you all so much for listening.
Thank you, Tiffany.